Senator from South Dakota.
Mr. President, I come to the floor to discuss again how Obamacare is negatively impacting American families. NBC News is reporting that 5 million Americans have received cancellation notices from health insurers. In my own state of South Dakota, the Sioux Falls Argus Leader is reporting that nearly 3,000 people have lost the plan that they had. Yet this administration is merely pursuing political band-aids for the problem created by the President's health care law. The President's trying to fix this problem of canceled plans, but his solution is politically motivated band-aid in response to pressure from members of his own party who are nervous about the next election. The unfortunate reality of his band-aid is that it won't work. Instead of taking responsibility for his failed policies and broken promises, he's changing his mind about how he wants his law to work at the 11th hour. He's kicking the can to state insurance regulators to determine whether, in 48 days, which is from the date of his announcement on Thursday, they can reverse a train wreck that has been barreling down the tracks for nearly 4 years. The President's health care law told the entire country that compliance with the President's law must occur on January 1st of 2014, and in response, industry and state regulators complied. Now, after relentlessly pushing a law that is fundamentally flawed, the President is changing his mind. He's expecting state insurance commissioners to bail him out to allow Americans to keep the plans that they were promised that they could keep. Since passage of his health care law, the President continued to tout his law and continued to make promises to the American people that he knowingly could not keep. While I agree that Americans should be able to keep the plans that they have and like, this 11th hour attempt at a fix is an indication that the underpinnings of this law are irreversibly flawed. The administration is now trying to live up to a promise it made despite the fact that they knew the promise wasn't true. In fact, the President repeated and reiterated that promise as recently as September 26, despite the fact that the administration knew it wasn't true. In 2010, the administration knew that up to 93 million Americans in the private market were in danger of losing their current health care plan. But the deeper problem with the President's fix is it is merely a Band-Aid. By this time next year, Americans will be in this exact same situation all over again. The President is not focused on finding a good permanent solution, but a good political solution. Putting this Band-Aid on the problem now may get him and his party past next year's elections. He seems more interested with preserving that power than creating real solutions to the underlying issues. In fact, the President is so concerned about the politics of his actions that he's considering yet again a way to bail out his union friends. As part of the health care law, unions agreed to pay a tax to help pay for the cost of expanding coverage. This tax, known as the reinsurance tax, is scheduled to be paid by self-insured plans, including plans administered by unions in many of the largest businesses in America. But the unions are unhappy that they have to pay money into a fund to be used to help fund a benefit for someone other than their dues-paying members. They took their complaints to the administration and buried in a regulation issued last month. The administration announced that they intend to exempt unions from paying this tax. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal editorial page articulated exactly why the union should not be exempt from this tax. The editorial, called Obama's Union Favor, argues, and I quote, that the unions ought to consider this tax a civic obligation in solidarity with the uninsured working folk that they claim to support, end quote. It further states, and I quote again, there's no conceivable rationale other than politics for releasing union-only plans from a tax, end quote. And as the editorial pointed out, exempting unions from this tax will only mean increased taxes on non-unionized Americans and self-insured plans, since the tax is structured in a way that it must raise a total of $25 billion and isn't structured as a straight percentage like most taxes are. Now, granting this political deal to unions is why I'm introducing the Union Tax Fairness Act. This bill would ensure that unions live up to the commitments they made when they put their political weight behind the health care law. It is political deals like this that highlight how this law is failing the average American. This reinsurance fee exemption isn't the only backroom deal the administration is trying to grant unions. Earlier this fall, the administration tried to find a way to provide Obamacare subsidies to ineligible union employees. And I introduced a bill called the Union Bailout Prevention Act, which was aimed at ensuring the administration cannot make that special deal either. Mr. President, it's clear that this President Obama, is trying to fix problems in his health care law by making decisions and exemptions based on favors to his political allies. Democrats are on the run from the law that they once championed. They recognize this law is sagging under its own weight. And last week, there were 39 House Democrats who voted against the Obama administration by supporting the Upton bill that provides a better solution to allowing Americans to keep plans they like than what the President has proposed. Even former President Bill Clinton said that President Obama should keep his word when it comes to allowing Americans to keep the plans that they have and like. And in this chamber, several Senate Democrats are running for the exits and looking for a legislative escape hatch of their own. Unfortunately, the solutions proposed by this administration to fix problems in the health care law are only temporary solutions. Their solutions to problems are either temporary delays, which they did with the employer mandate and the one-year extension of 2013 plans, or political favors to their friends and allies. Instead, this administration should agree to delay this entire law for all Americans. Americans are deeply skeptical of the Affordable Care Act. According to last week's Gallup poll, 55% of Americans now disapprove of the health care law, and there was a more recent poll this morning, ABC News, Washington Post, that has that number at 57% disapproving. Madam President, the time to act is now to ensure Americans can keep the plans that they have and like. This fix won't prevent Americans from losing their coverage, facing sticker shock and premium increases, or losing their doctor. This law is fundamentally broken, and we need to start over and enact real reforms that decrease costs and improve access to care. And Madam President, like so many of us in this chamber, I hear on a daily basis from my constituents in South Dakota about the impact, the very real impact, that this is having on middle-income Americans. This is an email that I received last week. John, my wife just received our health care insurance policy renewals for 2014, and we are in shock. Our monthly premiums increased from $400 per month to $1,000, or over $7,000 more per year. My wife, age 59, and me, age 60, now receive maternity benefits and some other very limited coverage. We lost our prescription drug copay and doctor visits copay. These expenses will now be included in our $6,300 deductible. I will have no option for any subsidy to offset these increases in premiums. It goes on to say, please push for a reversal of this horrible health care plan. My wife and I are physically ill after receiving this letter from our insurance carrier. Again, the government is destroying our lives, and we need you to stop this madness. Madam President, that's just one example, again, of many that I have heard from my state of South Dakota and many that my colleagues here in the Senate are hearing from all across this country. It is clear that this plan, this program, this health insurance law is not ready for prime time. It is time for us to take a time out and to go back to the drawing board and construct a plan, an insurance program for this country, legislation that will help reduce the cost for working class Americans, give them access to better quality of care, and allow them to keep the doctor that they choose, which is very much in jeopardy as well as a result of this takeover, literally, of 1/6 of our economy. Madam President, there's a better way, as I think countless now, millions of Americans are finding out through canceled coverages, sticker shock by skyrocketing premiums, and the new knowledge that they may not be able to keep not only their health insurance plan, but also the doctor that they like. This is a reality, a grim reality for way too many Americans, and it's time for us to step forward and to do something about it. What the President has proposed is a Band-Aid, is a political solution. It's not a permanent solution. It is temporary. We need long-term fixes put in place that will address the health care concerns that people in this country have. But, Madam President, the way to do that isn't to have the federal government literally assume control of 1/6 of the American economy and all the decision-making that takes out of the hands of ordinary middle-class families. People across this country are working hard to take care of their families. Madam President, I yield the floor.